Um, this one's probably gonna be tough because I'm like, as each day, the way that I cope with things is out of sight, out of mind. If it's stuff that I can't fix, I can't change, why continue to think about it? So, like, it becomes easier. No, it doesn't. I thought it did, but it doesn't, because for some odd reason, like, we still have stuff in this house that belonged to the boy, and every time I see it, I just want to throw it out. But my wife wants to keep it because, unlike me, where I don't like thinking of stuff, she likes to think of things. So, for her sanity and peace, I just leave it. But it's whatever. It's painful. The idea of losing a kid being taken away from you, it's painful. You've raised the kid has called you dad. It'd be one thing if it was like the other siblings, because we kind of raised them as well. But it's like whatever, because you understand that you have a mom, a biological mom that you go to, that you see, and that's your real mom and all that stuff. But with the boy, it was tougher because we were all that he knew. We were the ones that did everything for him, and he knew that. We were the ones that cared for him during his toughest times, and he knew that. Um, we were the ones that raised him, and he knew that. We were the ones that brought him to church, taught him how to count, taught him his colors, danced with him, help him build, help him grow, help him learn. So when you're in the process of building, and not even saying that it's like a project type thing, but when you're in the process, it's kind of like when you're in the process of creating something, allowing something to grow and teaching, and then it's becoming its own thing, and then it's just taken from you. It's different. It got to a point where I had to remember that this isn't my son. We didn't birth this kid. And not saying like I could just dish him out, but like, he's not, he, as much as we wanted to and as much as we thought it was going to be the case where we will be able to adopt him, I had to also remember that there's a good chance we're not going to be able to adopt him, that he's going to go back to his mom. But as the days continue to go and the bond continue to grow from us, from me, and from him, that that idea started to continue to fade in the back of my head. So then when the time did come where they're like, okay, they're going back to the mom, I was devastated. I was devastated. And as each day progressed, getting closer and closer to the day, I would low key be in hope that something would happen where the court would change their mind and would be able to adopt. It became so bad that everybody that I came across that always saw him with us and always saw how he was with me was like, yo, y'all gotta adopt him because you're his dad. And I'm just like, it is what it is. I'm just doing what I need to right now. But it's just that feeling, that desire that I had within me of, yo, this kid is my kid and I need him to be my kid. But it just became really tough, um, getting up to the point of him leaving. But the final days, I think the last 2 days and the morning of, I finally came to peace. But up to that point, it was tough. It was tough. Like, not hearing his voice anymore, not hearing the laugh, not hearing him call my name, daddy, 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 mommy, 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 Bella, um, Marty. That's how I would call Marley, my daughter. Marty. The idea of not hearing that anymore was tough. And the crazy thing is, I think the problem is that because I know that he's out there makes it even worse. Cause it's like my kid has been stricken from me and he's out there. I think it would have been easier to manage. And I'm not trying to sound dark or anything like that, but this is just me and my mind process. It's easier to manage losing a child passing away, than for them to be taken and you have no clue what they're going through right now. You have no clue what's happening. You don't know nothing. How they're growing, if they're eating, if they're learning anything, if they're keeping the same morals that you try to instill in them, the same values and stuff like that. You know nothing. They're just gone. And that eats at me every time when I see the things that belong to him in the house. And my biggest thing for him is his safety. Because again, both his siblings, bonkers. They're bonkers. I don't know what the heck is their problem. I mean, they have some type of mental issues, but apparently the mom has been on some stuff. It seems like as each episode goes, I continue to give more and more information about about their situation. But honestly, like their mom was bonkers. She was probably bonkers while she was, pregnant with them. And I don't know, they're both just the same and they're both like nuts. And I worry for their safety because every time he's around them, he's constantly getting hurt. They're constantly hurting him. I understand siblings being rough with their younger ones and stuff like that. No, they are purposefully hurting him and playing with him in ways that he shouldn't be playing with him. And it's like we keep telling them you have to be careful with him, but they just don't get it. It gets to a point where the sister is so triggered, where there was one instance that I saw from the corner of my eye. I saw something happen and I immediately knew that she was going to go berserk. We had to keep her restrained and like set her far away from the boy for about 3 hours, just so that she didn't try and go and hit him. 3 hours. Explain to me how that's okay with kids, and that's just kids being siblings and stuff like that. You're telling me I have to watch you for 3 hours just so that you don't go and get your hit back? And you're bigger than him. He's 4. She's 8 or 7. Yeah, 7. And he's not big at all. So it's like, and the brother, he's just very violent and he doesn't know how to calm down. It got to a point where I refused to allow the kids to go to my in-laws' house if they were there. My daughter, I didn't allow her to go there because of how violent he was, and the several times where the siblings almost got my daughter hurt by them doing stuff that they shouldn't have been doing constantly. Some people may think, oh, well, that's just kids. You got to let kids be kids. No, I think there's wisdom in making sure that you're steering your kids away from those that will cause purposeful danger. And so I fear for that for the boy living with his mother, because every time when he was going on visits, there was just constantly issues where it involved him getting hurt. There was a situation where he came back with a gash on his face and it was bleeding. And it was because apparently a toy dinosaur that he fell on, quote unquote. I still don't know exactly what happened, or nobody knows exactly what happened. But the mother didn't say anything. It was when they were staying over a weekend visit. The mother didn't say anything. And then they came back to us with that gash on his eye. And we're like, what the heck? The mother's like, oh, I didn't know if I could go to the doctor or the emergency room and stuff like that. I'm like, you let this thing just sit out and bleed. There's just dry blood sitting on his face. Looks like you didn't even do anything for it. it seemed like a lot of times, especially when they would call while they're on visits, because a transporter would call Casey, because Casey would be able to calm the kids down sometimes, or my wife, sorry. And then you just hear the mother in the background crying while the kids are running amok. And that was the biggest thing when it came to, like, towards the end of the whole situation. It became less of, okay, you got to meet the requirements, you got to be clean and stuff like that, and more of, yo, are you even going to be able to handle these kids? You're a single mother with 3 kids, and then you have another one that's living with you right now. And they're all young, and 2 of them have some mental issues. Are you going to be able to deal with them? And that became my concern over his safety. And it's like, bro, it just pained me every single day at the thought of, he's not gonna feel safe. He never felt safe when he went to the mother's house. And like I said before, he never wanted to go to the mother's house. Every single time, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. This is your mother, though, your biological mother. That whole mother tie, you always know who your mom is, but you never want to go. Why? But alas. And that brings up the next point of his mental. The way that he left was so abrupt. I mean, the thing that I'm coming to realize is that I'm in hopes that it didn't affect him too much. Because, like I said, we were the ones that raised him. We were the ones that brought him up and all that stuff. And it was to a point where, like, we went, where did we go? We went to Mexico for family vacation, and they had to stay. The boy was sick. He became lethargic, and he was just waiting for it. And I know that was the case because we left. Because the same thing happened with my daughter. When we left her with my parents for a week, and she didn't get sick, but she was very still, not wanting to move, always looking like she wanted to cry, but never really ended up crying. And then when we did get her back, she did not leave our side for a second. We tried to leave her at the house with my in-laws so that they could watch her while I went to go do something. She didn't want to. She wasn't about it. She kept trying to leave with us. So I knew that was the case with the boy. And it's like, I didn't want that to happen while he was with the mom. I didn't want him to think, oh my gosh, I've been ripped away from my parents. Because that's the biggest thing. It's different with the siblings because they knew the mom up until they left. The older brother, he was 2 when he left, but he knew who his mother was. And the sister was 3, 4. She knew who the mother was. They always talked about seeing the mom and stuff like that. Always happened when they see the mom. But the boy, we were his parents. To him, we were his parents. We were all that he knew. So him going back to his biological mother, my thought process in this was that it would be the same as the other siblings being taken away from their mother. To him, we are his biological parents. We were the ones that were taking care of him. We were the ones that he cared for. And that's the one thing I don't want to affect. Like the idea of him feeling like he's not safe. The people that always protected me from my siblings, the house where I always felt safe, the house I slept in just fine, is now gone, is now taken away from me. And now I'm stuck at this house that I don't want to be in with the siblings that I don't even want to stay around every single waking second because they always end up trying to hurt me. It's painful. And that's one of the things that I feared when it comes to, him leaving. I wouldn't wish that for anybody, for any kid, to be stricken away from the place that you called secure, that you called home, that you felt safe, around the people that made you felt safe. That can do something to you. But I just pray that as a kid, that's something that he can put in the back of his mind. And that also goes for my daughter. So the boy was 2 when Marley was born. And he loved her. And she loved him. They were practically inseparable. They loved seeing each other. How happy she was, how happy they were when they saw each other every day. It was it was painful. My daughter hasn't said anything. I mean, now she's able to talk. Now she's saying, "Where's mommy? Where's daddy?" But she never says, "Where's the boy?" Which I guess is a good thing. It's not something that's going to affect her too much. But I think it did subconsciously affect her because after he left, her attitude shifted. Now, granted, we did move right after that same time as well, but her attitude shifted. She didn't seem as happy as she was before. I think she noticed it, but she didn't know why. Now she's doing better. Now she's way more happy, but now she's also practically a single child. We keep talking about having another one because we don't want no spoiled children, but that's we got some stuff that we got to handle. But it's tough. It was tough initially, and again, these are things that I feel like was going to be an issue, and I internalized that as this is bad, this is terrible, stuff like that. But as I'm looking at it, it seems like everything's just going to be okay, and that's what I've come to at the end of the day. Is that everything's going to be okay. She has grown, and a lot of the tendencies that she has now is because of him. But at the same time, he's helped her grow. She's followed him and literally becoming another him, practically a tomboyish kind of thing. But she's really I she's doing things that he does. Initially, she was very skittish about certain things. Now she's fearless, and that's because he was fearless. And every time we would go to the park, he would push her to become fearless, and she did. And every time when she overcame something, he would be so happy, and it would make her happy, to where now she doesn't fear anybody. She practically doesn't even fear us, which honestly is a problem. But I'm grateful for the time that we had with him, for the time that Marley had with him. And if you haven't already, go ahead and check out the previous video. I got it right here. Just go ahead and click on that box, and I'll see you there.